You all can see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So welcome to data structure course. The code of this course is CSE 433. Okay. And before we start, let us look at some books which you can follow for your study. Okay. So these are the books which you can use for your study. Fundamentals of Data Structures by Horowitz Sahni. So you can make this book as textbook, and remaining books you can have for reference purpose. Or if you have any specific problems you are going to solve, then you can refer the remaining books. Okay. So Tannenbaum data structure using C and C++ by Tannenbaum book is also a very good book. And then we have Aho Ullman Hopcroft. So you can use this book as textbooks. All four books are very good, but the first one you can use as textbook. Okay, by Horowitz Sahni. Now these are the topics we will cover in this semester. So introduction to data structure. In introduction to data structure, we will be talking about problem solving, algorithms, programs, or programming methodology. And then we will talk about some primitive data structures. Then we will talk about the characteristics of algorithm, properties of algorithm, abstract data type, asymptotic notations. Okay. And in this chapter or in this topic, we will also cover how to compute the time complexity of an algorithm. So after discussing asymptotic notations, we will also see how to compute the time complexity of an algorithm. Okay, or how to estimate the time complexity of an algorithm. And next topics are arrays, stacks, and queues. So in arrays, most of you are familiar with the operations of arrays. So here we will extend the notion of arrays for sparse matrices. So we will talk about the different operations with sparse matrices. In stack queues, we also talk about the insertion deletion operations. Okay, with array implementation, with linked list implementation of stack queue. Then we will talk about the NQ operation, circular queue. So both these data structures will be implemented with linked list as well as the arrays. Okay, so both these implementations we will see, and then we will talk about the linked list. So linked representation of linear list will be discussed in this topic. So singly linked list, doubly linked list, and circular linked list. So different operations like insertion operation, deletion operation, okay, then searching operation. So all these operations will be discussed in linked list. And we also talk about the polynomial representation using linked list. So in polynomial representation, we will talk about addition of two polynomials. And in searching operation, we will talk about the sequential search and binary search. Then in the sorting, we will talk about different sorting algorithms. We will start from the bubble sort. Okay, bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, merge sort, quick sort, and heap sort. So these are the sorting algorithms we will discuss in this topic. And then we will go for the final topic, that is trees. In trees, we will talk about binary tree, we will talk about binary search tree, we will talk about AVL tree or height balance trees. So if time permits, then we will also talk about some graph data structures. So this is so up to tree, your syllabus your syllabus will cover up to tree. So if time permits, then we can go for graph data structures. Now, this course, before we start some introduction on data structure, let us see why we study this course. Okay, and before that, we need to know why this course is designed uh, for uh, for teaching purpose or for to write a program efficiently. Okay, so we assume that you know the basic approach to solve a problem. So you will be given a problem, so you have to convert that problem into a program, and then you will run that program on a machine. Okay, and here you know the basics of programming in C. So basically here we talk about the programming construct. So you are already familiar with the programming construct, and you can write, debug, and run simple programs in C. So these are the requirements. So these three you have to. I assume that you are familiar with all these three aspects. You know the basic approach to solve a problem. You know the basics of programming in C, that is programming construct, and you can write, debug, and run simple programs in C. Okay. Now there are a number of facets to good programs. Then how to uh, how to write a good program. Okay, so the programs good programs we are talking about that run correctly. So run in accordance with the specifications, run efficiently, and be easy to read and understand, be easy to debug, and be easy to modify. Okay, the next is how to solve a problem. Okay, or problem solving. Okay, so what is the sole purpose of programming language, or sole purpose of writing program? The sole purpose of writing program is to solve a problem, and essentially it is a computational problem. So computational problem means the problems that we cannot solve by pen and paper. Okay, small problems can be solved by pen and paper, but if we want to solve a computational problems that cannot be solved by pen and paper, we can take help of a computer. Okay, now for that problem, what we do, we initially design a solution to that problem. Okay, to that computational problem, and then accordingly we use some programming language to transform that problem or solution, the temporary solution of to the problem, into a program, and finally we run that program on a computer. Okay, so it may be a C program, it may be a C++ program, it may be a Python program. So our the sole purpose of writing program is to solve a computational problem. Now how to design a problem. So what are the different procedures are available. So there is no general theory of problem solving. That means when we pick up a problem and then try to solve it, so we have to design the solution to the problem. So when we design the solution to the problem, so we have to develop our thinking ability. That means our thinking ability will lead us to a solution to the problem. So different individuals have different thinking ability. So we call that thinking ability as style of thinking. Okay, so style of thinking will lead us to a solution to the problem. Now if we consider there is a problem which is given to us to solve that problem on a computer. Okay, now computer has some specific architecture, and accordingly that computer will take the solution to the given problem in a number of steps. That means without writing the number of steps, the computer will not understand those steps. Okay, that means we have to follow some specific format. We have to follow some specific rule. So accordingly, we will write the initial solution to the problem, some specific format like pseudocode. Okay, so initially we will go for the pseudocode. We will write the pseudocode. Then we will transform the pseudocode into a program. So that pseudocode will be called, sometimes will be called program, or we can represent that we can represent a solution to the problem by a flow chart. So whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We have to design the solution to the problem by writing a number of steps. Okay, and that number of steps will understand by the architecture of the computer. That means architecture is designed such a way that without writing the steps, whether it is algorithm, whether it is pseudocode, whether it is program. Okay, so there will be a number of steps, logical steps. So that logical steps will be validated by the architecture of the computer. So architecture is designed such a way that the number of steps will, when the program will be executed on a computer or using some compiler, then that program will be read by the number of steps, and then those steps will be executed on that machine. Okay, so our task is to design the solution of the given problem such a way that we can easily convert these steps into a program. So programming language may be anything. Programming language may be a procedural programming language. Programming language may be object oriented programming language. Okay, now our now since there is no general theory of problem solving, so therefore we can use our thinking, we can use our style of thinking, we can use our intuition, and we can use the mixture of use we can use a number of techniques, so that will lead us to the solution to the problem. Okay, now let us consider a simple problem where you find the maximum of n integers. Okay, so you all know how to find the maximum of n integers. However, for the sake of understanding, understanding of thinking ability and how we can change the thinking ability, and we can stick to a particular style of thinking to develop our solution to the problem. Okay, now let us consider this problem of finding maximum of n integers. Okay, so initially what we will do, we will read the n integer numbers, then we will read the first number. Okay, so read number, we'll read the first number, then we will assign this first number to max. That means we call or we declare the first number that has been read as max. Okay, next we will write a loop which will start from 2 to n in step 1. So 2 comma n comma 1 means the loop will start from 2 and go until n in step 1. So here we have written loop I equals to 2 comma n comma 1. Then we read the number. Which number? The number 2. Okay, that means the number which is occupied in position 2. So that number will be read, and then we will compare this number with max. If max is found to be less than number, then we will assign the number to max, and finally we will print the max. So all when we find the maximum of integers, we generally write this program or similar type of steps we write in the pseudocode. So we can represent this problem with pseudocode, or where number of steps will be given, or we can represent the solution of this problem with a flowchart. Okay, so that flowchart can also be converted to a program. Now our task or our duty is to convert these set of steps or set of statements to a program, and then we will run that program or execute that program on some computer where we have the compiler of that specific programming language. Okay. Now, if we so since this is very simple problem to find a maximum of in number of integers. So if we can change the if we can change the style of thinking to solve the same problem. Now my purpose is not to show you how to solve this simple problem, but the purpose is to show you how to develop the thinking ability to solve the same problem in different way. Okay. So thinking ability means the style of thinking. So as I said that when you solve your own problem, so since there is no general theory or there is no general rule to solve a problem, computational problem, therefore we have to build up the thinking ability or style of thinking. We have to build up the intuition ability. Okay. So how intuition will help to solve a computational problem, and when we will run this computational when we will run this solution to the computational problem on some machine using a programming language, then that solution will give us correct result. Okay. Or near to the correct result. So our thinking ability is very important. How we think and how we design the algorithm, or how we design the solution to the problem, so that is important. So what would be used to design such a solution to the problem? So we can use different techniques. We can use our intuition. We can use our thinking ability or style of thinking to develop the solution to the problems. Okay. So here I am talking about the simple problem of finding maximum of n integers. Okay. Now if we consider there are n numbers t1 to tn, and then we can decompose this problem into two different problems. Okay. In the domain of the first problem, we will have only one number or one integer, and in rest of the domain of the second problem, we will have the rest of the integer numbers. Okay. That means here we decompose the whole problem into two parts. The first part will contain one integer. Okay. So we can call this integer as max. Then we will go for the comparison. So we will compare the first number with the second number. That means by comparing the first number with second number, we can extend the solution domain up to second number. Okay. And then after comparing it, we will take the maximum, and then third number, that is t3. So in this way we will getting the we will extending we will extending the solution to the problem. Okay. So that means at ti's position, we have the partial solution. That means we have found the maximum integer number up to comparing until ti. Okay. Ti's position. So until ti, we have found a partial solution, and that partial solution give us a temporary maximum integer number. Okay. So rest of the problem domain is not explored. So after ti, we will have ti plus 1, ti plus 2, and uh, tn. Okay. So up to tn, we will finish the comparison by comparing with tn, then we will find the final solution to this problem. Now, when we decompose the problem into a number of solutions, we can decompose into into any two parts. We can decompose this whole problem into any two parts, so which may contain the different number of integers. That means this should be decomposed into two disjoint and non-empty subsets. Okay, so from the first subset we will find the max one, from the second subset we will find the max two. Then comparison will be made between max one and max two. Okay, so in this way we can develop the solution to the problem. So this is basically whatever we have discussed to find the maximum of the integers. So that is the that is the one a class the solution that is the solution to this decomposition problem. So one such solution may be the earlier solution. Okay, so this solution is basically derived from the decomposition of this whole problem. So now writing a program or use the different data structures or different programming methodologies. So basically these are the different aspects which are derived from problem solving. That means when we go for solve a problem, so we can derive the different type of entities. So those entities will represent the body of knowledge. Okay, so that body of knowledge will help us to a problem efficiently design a solution to the problem efficiently. And when we transform this solution to a program, and when we run that program, so that solution will give us the efficient result. Okay, so that is why we need that this body of knowledge. This body of knowledge will contain the writing the program, writing the program in efficient way, use different aspects of data structurings. So these data structuring techniques or the programming methodologies will help us to design an efficient problem which will give us the correct result at the end on the output. So when we execute the program, then after executing it, so executing means we have to take care of different aspects of the aspects of the solution to the given problem, so that we can have some efficient execution of that program on the machine. So this is another representation of decomposition. Here you can see that here we have taken a list L, capital L, and then we split this list into two disjoint non-empty sets L1 and L2. Okay, and we find the first maximum integer number from list L1. Okay, then we find the maximum integer number from list L2. Then we go for comparison between max 1 and max 2. Okay, so if max 1 is found to be less than max 2, then we assign max 2 to max. That means now max 2 becomes the max, else max 1 becomes the max, and finally we return or print the maximum. So this representation of the solution to the problem represent the decomposition aspect. Okay, so these decomposition aspects, so earlier solution of the finding the maximum of n integers basically a subset of this decomposition problem. Okay, subset of this decomposition problem. So in this way we can build up the thinking ability and to solve the same problem in different way. Now we can solve a problem in different way, but which way will give us the efficient execution or efficient result? Okay, so that matters. That means we can have n number of solutions to to the same problem. Now out of n number of solutions, which problems will be selected, or which problems will be taken, so that we can write the efficient program of that algorithm, of that pseudocode. And when we run that program, then it will generate the result in efficient way. So my sole purpose is to make you understand why we need this style of thinking, why we need the intuition, why we need different why we need the mixture of different techniques to develop the solution to the given problem. Okay, since there is no hard and fast rule, so therefore we need to concentrate on our thinking ability, we need to concentrate on our intuition, and we need to concentrate on our understanding of different methodologies or different techniques that will help us to develop an efficient solution to the given problem. Now, as far as the problem solving concern, so uh, we can develop some steps. So these are not the part of general theory of the problem solving or the hard and fast rule. These are not the part of hard and fast rule. So or any kind of rules. So here we can have a tentative number of steps. So if we follow these steps, then we can reach a solution to the problem, and we can use this. You can use these steps to a number of problems. That means not all problems can be solved by following these steps, but a large number of problems can be solved if we follow these steps properly. Okay, since this is not a part of the general theory of problem solving, and and since there is no general theory of problem solving, therefore we can follow, if we can follow these steps, then we can reach some good solution of the given problem. Okay, so here we can have the initial solution generation. So initial solution generation contains a set of actual programs. Okay, so set of actual programs means set of potential programs. So why we call these programs are potential programs? Because this potential program programs will generate the correct output. Okay, so initial solution generation will contain a set of actual potential programs. Okay, and then in the second step we will have the initial solution refinement, and finally we will have the solution. So this final solution infers a program. That means initially when we have the solution, so that may be a pseudocode of the solution, that may be an algorithm of the solution, or that may be some logical steps, a set of logical steps to the solution of the problem. Okay, now out of n number of solutions, so which solution will be selected for execution. Okay, so at the initial level we will have the algorithm. Okay, so algorithm or pseudocode or flowchart, whatever it is. So these potential programs, since this potential programs gives the correct output, so therefore out of this n number of, or out of this n number of solutions or the algorithms, we have to select one or two such solutions, so which will be executed efficiently. Okay, so efficiently means, so after designing the initial solution, we will go for the refinement. So this initial solution refinement gives us the solution to the problem or the algorithm that we have been selected. So this algorithm will give us the efficient solution. So this the refinement based on some criteria. So what are those criteria? The one such criteria is the efficiency. Okay, one such criteria is efficiency. So here efficiency refers to time efficiency and space efficiency. That means how fast the algorithm execute, how fast the algorithm will execute, and how less space will be taken by that algorithm in the memory. So these two conditions are responsible to give us the efficient solution to the given problem. So other aspects like algorithm design, data structurings will also be responsible to give us the efficient solution. So algorithm design means how efficiently we can design an algorithm in the refinement steps. So initially we will have the a rough solution of the problem. Okay, rough solution of the problem means the pseudocode, the flowchart, the initial stage of algorithm. So after at the refinement step, we will consider the different conditions. So based on those conditions, if those conditions comply with some algorithm, then that algorithm will be selected in the refinement step. And since this algorithm gives us the time efficiency and space efficiency, while it is compared with other solutions to the problems. Okay, since here we are talking about the n number of problems of the same problem, so therefore, out of n number of solutions, we have to select one or two such solutions which will give us the efficient output after execution of the program. Okay, so in the final step, we transform the given algorithm into a program. So here we can write the program using some vehicle programming language. So what is vehicle programming language? So vehicle programming language refers to high level programming language. Okay, all some kind of low level programming language. But since we are talking about the C programming language here, and since you are familiar with C programming language, so therefore you can use C programming language or high level some other high level programming language to transform the selected algorithm in the refinement step into the program. Okay, so programming is nothing but the implementation of the algorithm. Okay, implementation of the algorithm. So here when we write the program, we use different data structuring techniques, we use different algorithm design aspects, and this algorithm design aspects, data structuring techniques, okay, intuition, mixture of different uh, uh, mathematical techniques or mathematical tools. So all these aspects all these aspects lead us to the body of knowledge. Okay, so when we design a algorithm or when we write a program, we have to consider this body of knowledge, so that we have to use this body of knowledge so that we can write an efficient program uh, that will be executed on the computer. So when we execute this program, we will have the efficient outcome in the output. Now, what we call an algorithm. So we can have number of definitions of algorithm, but roughly algorithm could be defined and uh, as a set of rules for carrying out calculation either by hand on or a machine. Okay, so an algorithm is a finite step by step procedure to achieve a required result. Okay, an algorithm is a sequence of computational steps that transform the input into the output. So we can define the algorithm in a number of ways. So this all these definitions lead us to the one representation that is called the solution to the problem. So solution, this algorithm is nothing but the solution to the initial solution to the problem. So our task, our duty is to convert this algorithm into a program, and that program will be executed on a computer. Okay. So here we can see two different classic examples of multiplication. So one is called the American way, another is called the English way. So American way says that when you multiply the multiply the multiplicand one after another by each digit of the multiplier, so that is taken from the right to left. Okay, that is taken from right to left. But in English way says that we will take that take we will take the multiplicand one after another by each digit of the multiplier taken from left to right. Okay, so the first way says that we will take the right to left. Okay, and the second way says that we will take the left to right. So that means the same problem we can solve by two different way. Now this design part into description of algorithm at an abstract level by means of pseudo language. As I said that we can represent, your algorithm is represented by a pseudo language or pseudo code, and we can use the proof of correctness. Uh, we can use the proof of correctness, that is the algorithm solves the given problem in all cases. Okay, so proof of correctness refers to the solution of the problems which have been done in which have been done for all cases. Okay, that means if we use the different sets of input, and that different sets of input can be used to solve the same problem uh, with an algorithm. So that will solve the given problem with different sets of input. Okay, now the analysis deals with the performance evaluation. So here, algorithmic idea refers to the design and analysis of an algorithm. So here, basically, we first we design the algorithm, then we take the analysis of that algorithm. That means when if we consider the previous two problems, these classic examples to for multiplication, then we can use these two different ways, and these two different will lead us to two different algorithm. Now among these two algorithm, which algorithm will give us the efficient result? So that is subject to analysis. Okay, so first we design the algorithm following these two ways, then we go for the analysis. So analysis will say us which algorithm among these two algorithms or among these two representation will give us the efficient result, and how fast the algorithm will be executed on a computer. Now here we can talk about one such problem, that is greatest common divisor. So what is greatest common divisor? So greatest common divisor of two integers is the largest number, so which divides both numbers with a remainder of 0. Okay, so we will use GCD a comma b. So if we consider GCD a comma b is a function, so that will denote the greatest common divisor of integers a and b. Okay, so for example, GCD of 10 comma 5 will be 5, GCD 96 comma 72 will be 12, and we can have more examples. But but the problem will be getting difficult or complex when we have when the numbers will grow. That means if we need some if we need some such numbers to calculate the GCD, then we can take the large numbers, and this becomes increasingly difficult for large numbers. Okay. Now to solve this problem, greatest common divisor or GCD problem, so we can develop a number of algorithms, or we can develop a number of solutions to the same problem of GCD. Now, first in the first solution to the problem, we can follow these basic steps. We can make the value to be returned a when a will be found to be b. Okay. In the steps two, otherwise, if a greater than if a is found to be greater than b, then we can have a equals to a minus b and return to step one. That means by subtraction we can design this algorithm. Okay. So by subtraction we can design this algorithm. And here you can see the here you can see the steps on the left hand side. In the right hand side you can see the algorithm of GCD. So this solution is achieved by subtraction. This is one way to design the solution of the problem. In another way, we can use the division. Okay. So we can use the division in the first method. uh, in the first method of solution, we use the subtraction, and then we can use the division to solve the same problem of GCD. Okay. So here the value of a will be returned if b is found to be 0. Otherwise, we will divide a by b and store the remainder in some variable r. Okay. And in the third step, r will be assigned to, if r will be assigned to b, and then b will be assigned to a, then we will return to step one. That means by division also we can have the same solution to the given problem of GCD. But since we are looking for an efficient algorithm, so therefore this division solution to this GCD problem can have two different forms. One form is obtained by subtraction, another form is obtained by division. And for division also, we can have two different versions of algorithm. Okay. So one is using the recursive function. Another is using the while do. So while loop. That means two different way we can write this algorithm for division, and for subtraction we can have one algorithm. That means now we have three different algorithms for the same problem GCD. Okay. Now among these three problems, among these three algorithms, which algorithm will be selected? So that depends on the analysis of the algorithm. So analysis of the algorithm involves the time efficiency, and space efficiency, and different data structuring techniques. So designing of algorithm involves different data structuring techniques, and different techniques, and different styles of thinking ability. So if we can go for efficient algorithm, then we need to consider more than one criteria. So based on which we will select the efficient algorithm, and that efficient algorithm finally will be transformed into a program, and that program will be executed on the machine.
So the next class is going to start, sir.
Okay, so that's all for today, and there will be no class on Wednesday. So we will meet in the next week, Monday.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, that's all
okay.
for today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you, sir.